Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Susan. Today we are going to be making this beautiful pleated gown that you're seeing here with a collar. So if this sounds like what you like to learn, stay on the line while we get started. And we are going to be using this Scuba Fabric. I actually got 2 yards of the pink and half yard of the white because they refuse to sell quarter. So I got half yard. So this is what we are going to be using to make this dress. So guys, let's get started. So I'll start by taking a shoulder measurement divided by 2 and I'm going to add it there. And from there I'll come down by 1 inch. And so from there I'm going to take neck width of 3 inches. So from the 3 inches I'm just going to connect to the 1 inch of our shoulder slope. So from there I'm going to take my neck depth of 3 inches too. So this is like 3 by 3 for the front. So I'm just confirming that I have that 3 inches there also, and I'm just going to use my curve roller to curve to give me that round neck. So that's it guys. So I'm just going to use our shoulder divided by 2 as an armhole. So what I have is 7, so I'm just going to mark 7, and I'm also going to confirm that I have that 7 inches, which is a shoulder measurement. I'm just confirming that I have 7 inches around, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw a straight line to make the 7 inches down. So that's it. From there I'll take a bust measurement divided by 4. Whatever I have, I'm going to put it there. So from there I'm just going to draw a straight line so I can curve my armhole. So that's it. So I'm just going to look for the midpoint of the armhole. So the midpoint is 0.5. So I'm just going to, from that 3.5, I'm going to come in because this is the front is going to be deeper. So I came in by half an inch, and I'm just going to use my curve roller to connect it to a bust. So that's it guys. So we are also going to, from now we are going to take our body measurements as our shoulder to our bust point, which is 9.05, and our shoulder to our under bust 13 inches, and our shoulder to our half length, which is to our waist, which is 17 inches, and our shoulder to our hip, which is, so from the waist I'm just going to count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, and from there that is going to be where our waist is. You know, this is going to, this is like a, like there is going to be like a blouse before the skirt. So the half length is not going to stop at the waist, it's going to go down like the upper hip. So I'm just rolling the line so I can take my round body measurements. Before then, let's go ahead and take our that. So I'm going to use a nipple to nipple divided by 2. I'm going to add it there at the bust point. I'm also going to add it at the under bust. I also add it at the waistline. I'm also going to add it at the aim line. So after adding all the points, I'm just going to connect it with a straight line from the bust point down to the hip. So after connecting it guys, I'm just going to go ahead from the waist. I'm going to take half inch on the other side, and I'm going to take half inch on this side. That's like 1 inch for that. So that's like 1 inch. So I'm going to come up by 4 inches from the hip, and I'm going to mark 4 inches from the hip, and I'm going to mark, and I'll come down by the bust point by 1 inch. So I'm just going to connect these points together from the 1 inch that I came down from the bust point. I'll connect it to the half inch at the waist, and I'll also connect it to that 4 inches that I came up at the hip. So I'll do the same for both sides. Let's go ahead and label our bust point. This is our under bust, and this is our waistline, and the down is our hip line. So after that, we're just going to go ahead now to draw our lines for the dart. Just going to do. So guys, I want to use this opportunity to thank all my subscribers. Thank you so much, guys. Although I've not posted for 2 weeks, I just want to tell you guys that I really do appreciate, and our channel is really growing. So I'm so grateful. And to you that just came across my channel, please go ahead and subscribe, like this video so it will get to larger audience. Thank you so much. So at the shoulder, I'm just going to come up. I just divided my shoulder by 2, and whatever I add it there, and I'm just going to connect it from that my shoulder that I divided by 2 to meet the bust point. So that is it, guys. So I noticed it was not showing clearly, so I'm just trying to explain to you guys what I did there. Yes, so that is it. We took our dart from the hip line. We came up by 4 inches, and we came down here by 1 inch, and that was it. We connected it to our shoulder, and now we are going to take our body measurement, bust divided by 4, and also under bust divided by 4. Also we take our waist divided by 4, and we also going to take our waist divided by 4, and we are going to take our hip measurement divided by this hip. We don't really need it, but it's just like a guideline. Hip divided by 4. So after that, we took our 1 inch dart, so we're going to replace it 1 inch. So we are going to replace it there. So I'm just trying to confirm my measurement. I don't know. Yes, sometimes after doing it, I'll just want to confirm so I can be sure. Yeah, so I'm just going to add my 1 inch extra there. So that's for the dart that we took out. So we just replace it back. So we're just going to go ahead now to connect it. You're connecting it using your ruler. You can use your free end. I'm just going to connect it from the underbust. I'm going to connect to the waistline, and from the waistline I'm also going to connect it to the hip line. Yeah, that's it. So I'm just adding my shoulder allowance. That's it. So also, this is a scuba fabric and it's kind of stretchy. So if you use exact measurements, you're going to have issues. So I'm going to take out some inches at the front. I'll take about half inch. That's half inch on both sides. The our fabric is going to be like two, folded into two. So I'm taking half inch on this side, and I'm going to take half inch on the other side. That's altogether is going to be 1 inch I'm taking out from the front. I'm not going to replace this particular one. Just at the waistline, I'm not going to replace it. So I took it that way. So I'm not going to replace that. It's not going to affect me because the fabric is stretchy. So that's it. That's just the reason. So for the basket, we are just going to come down. I measured her, so we are going to come down by 19 inches. Then from the hip side, we're also going to come up by 4 inches. So I came up initially by, it was 23, then 20 over there, then 23 here, but I later changed it. So this is the basket. I'm not going to cut this basket off. Is when I'm done stitching it, that's when I'll cut it off, but you can cut your own off now. So that is it, guys. So I'm going to take bust darts right now. So bust dart is different between your waist, from your shoulder to your waist at the front, and your shoulder to your waist. So I did not measure her, so I'm just going to use 1 inch. For me is 1.05, but for her I'm going to use 1 inch. So to take her bust measurement, that means her back is going to be smaller by 1 inch. So that is it. I'm just going to go ahead now to cut the So for the bust that, so I'm just going to go ahead now to tear here because we are going to, when we are going to cut it out. So when we are cutting it out, we don't want that place to be there again because we are not taking it on the fabric. So we're already taking it here. So if it's shorter, you're going to replace it. Just use your tape and replace it. So we'll go ahead now to cut everything out, guys. So this is us cutting my dart, and I'm also going to cut this other side out. Remember, I'm not replacing that side because it's a stretchy fabric anyways. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut this. So this is what we have. So now let's go ahead to the back, for the back pattern. So I just took my normal 7 inches for the shoulder, and I took 3 inches for the neck. Is the same neck depth. Then I slope by 1 inch, the same at the back. So the neck depth for the back is going to be 1 inch. So from the 3 inches, I'm just going to connect it this way. Just going to connect it to give that round neckline for the back side. So that's it, guys. So we're just going to extend that to the zip. As you can see, I've kept my zip allowance here already. So from there, I'm just going to come down by our armhole length, and I'm just going to confirm that I have 7. Is the same thing for the front and the back. So I'm just connecting it the 7 inches, and from there I'm just going to go ahead now to take our bust measurement also, and I'm going to connect it just that way, just the same way we did at the front. I also look for the midpoint, and I'm going to mark it there. And at the back, we are not really going to come in, so you can just come in with something like quarter, and that's it. I've connected it. So we are also going to go down by our bust point, and there we are not going, no under bust for the back. So it's a bust point and a waistline and a hip line. So you already know it's going to, so it's going to be minus. So I use 17 for our front waist, and I use 16 for the back waist. So from the 16, I'm going to just count 9 inches, which is our hip point, and that's it. So I'm just going to draw the lines. Just going to draw the lines just like that, guys. Draw your lines, and when we are done, we just draw this one. When we are done, we're just going to go ahead now to take a nipple to nipple divided by 2, and we're going to put it there, and we're going to go ahead now to draw a straight line so we can take our that intake for the back side. So I'm also going to go ahead now to take ½ inch on both sides, and ½ inch on both sides, and after that I'm going to also come up by about 5 inches or 4 inches, and I'm going to also take a dot, and I'm going to connect it that way. I'm going to connect it also, and from there I'm just going to go ahead and connect it to the bust point just that way, and I'm also going to connect it to the other bust point just this way, guys. And after that, I'm going to also connect it straight also to the shoulder. So I'm going to also look for the midpoint of the shoulder, and I'm going to mark, yeah, I'm going to mark there, and I'm also going to connect from that shoulder. I'm going to connect to make the bust point, yeah, because I'm going to tear it out. So that's it. So I'm going to tear that out. So I'm going to also, to avoid any kind of bulge, I'm going to, my hip, my zip is actually 1.05, so I'm going to take ½ inch. It's going to be on fold, so I'm taking ½ inch out
So that's like 1 inch, and I'm not going to replace it. I'm not going to replace it. That means this part, this particular waist part is remaining 1 inch. But when I'm taking my zip, I am taking 1.5 everywhere. That means I'll be going in by half inch. I'll be going in by half inch. That means my zip is going to be 1.5 from beginning to the end. I am not going to replace it. Number one, this is a stretch fabric. I even need to take more. Yeah. And this is my first time I'm working with Scuba. I work with stretchy fabric. When I'm working with stretchy fabric, I deal with it. But this is my first time I'm working with this Scuba. So I just have to, it's really stretchy. So, and it's stretchy both, that's both on the length and on the width. Yeah. So this is me just taking my bust measurements, and I'm going to replace that. I took a bust measurement. I'm just taking a normal body measurement, which we did before in the front. So I'm going to take a hip measurement, and I'm also going to add it there. And from there, I'm going to go ahead now to connect the dots together. I've already taken a body measurement. I've also replaced just that. I did not replace the zip. It's just the dot that I replaced. Okay. Okay, so I was just confirming the waist measurement. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead now to connect, guys. Going to go ahead to connect. Guys, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I really do appreciate. So I'm just going to go ahead now to add my shoulder allowance, and that is it, which is not really necessary. Don't add if you don't, you can, you might, depend on the fabric you're using. If you're using this scuba, I don't think there is need, so that is it. But if you're using another material, please add it. So that is it. So guys, we are going to now take the basket for the back side. So I just take, I measure that. So you're going to measure yourself, or you're going to measure your client where you want the blouse to be. Remember, it's going to be a blouse. So at this hip side, I just came down by about 2 inches. Also came down by about 2 inches. Just know that at the end of the day, I use 22 inches over here, and I use 19 inches over the other side. That's it. So this is like, it's going to be like a full blouse, you get. Then you're going to add the other, the skirts down. So that's it. So we are basically done. So we are going to go ahead now to cut. We are going to add all our allowances when we are cutting on the fabric. The allowance that we are going to add is not going to be much, do not forget, because this is a stretchy fabric, and I'm not cutting my basket now. Is when I'm done joining them, that's when I'll cut it. You can go ahead and cut yours now, it's the same thing. So that's it. I'm just going to go ahead now to cut this out, and that is it. So this is what we have, guys. So we are going to go ahead now. When we cut it, we are going to join them back. That is it. So I'm done cutting, and I added half inch on every side except for the sides, like the armhole side. I added 1 inch. If you're adding lining, please add up to like 1.5 at the sides. That's the size of the armhole. Just add 1.5. So this is it, guys. I have cut everything. So what we have here, I kept it on fold, like there are two pieces each. There are two pieces each. So we're just going to stitch it straight that way. That's the front. And we're going to pick one side of the side, and we're going to pick this one, and we are going to sew it. So this is it when I was done stitching both sides, and we're going to stop stitch. So you're just going to move the lining to one side like this and stop stitch on top. You do the same for everything. This is it when I was done. So this is our rose. I've already gone ahead to cut it. So this is 8 inches by length and 8 inches by width for the first one, and the second layer is 8 inches by length and is also 6 inches by width, and the last one, that's the upper one, is I use 4.05 and it's also 8 inches by length. So everything is 8 inches by length, it's just the width different. So right now I'm just stitching it with big stitch with my thread and needle, and when I'm done stitching it, I'm just going to drag it, and I'm going to tight stitch it. I'm just going to stitch it very well to make sure that it's firm. Yes, you can go ahead and do same, guys. Go ahead and tight it, go ahead and stitch it. So when we're done, look at our rows here. So we are going to go ahead now to keep it aside. So I've gone ahead to cut this long stripe by you can use 1 inch. So you can use 1 inch, and the length is around 20 inches. So I'm just going to go ahead now to stitch it on top of that. So I'm going to measure at from my shoulder. I'm going to measure from our shoulder. I'm going to measure 7 inches. It's not going to be on top of our bust. You know, our bust point is 9.05. So this is on, this is 7 inches, so it's going to be up. So I've gone ahead to stitch both of them, and I've gone ahead to stitch both of them. So I'm just going to put the rows this way, and I'm going to go round, but I'm going to keep it for now. Is later I'm going to put the rows because I don't want it to get dirty. So we're going to go ahead now to join our shoulders by ½ inch that we added. So I'm going to join the both sides of the shoulder. So I'll head over to the machine and join the shoulders. So this is it after I was done joining the shoulders. So now I'm going to go ahead now to join the sides by the inches that I added. So I'm going to just use my tape and my chalk, and I'm going to chalk it, and I'm going to go over to the machine and I'm going to stitch it. When I was done, this is what we have, guys. I also noticed when I was doing this, I didn't know that it was not recording very well. So that's when I was cutting out the basket. Even if I don't get to do it again, I think we already did it when we were cutting the pattern. When we were drafting the pattern, we already did it. So let's just go over now and do it again. So I'm going to just come up here from the sides. It's going to be, I actually used 20 inches, but I later changed it. To 19. So whatever you're going to measure, this is like a blouse, so you're going to measure like you want a full blouse. So this is it. So I'm just going to also go down here. You measure the length you want. You can use 22 at the other side, then you can use 19 here. Then from there, I'm just going to connect this way. Just connect it down, and that is it, guys. So I'm just trying to chalk it so it will be easy for me to cut it off. So this is the other side that I already cut when the camera was not recording. So this is me just cutting it out. You know, I told you I didn't want to cut it when we were drafting the pattern. I wanted to cut it when I'm done. Yes, so this is what we have, guys. So you know, I already stitched my zip allowance, so my zip allowance was inside. So this is how it's going to be, guys. This is what we have. So right now we are working on the skirt part. So I'd already cut out my blouse and I've measured my blouse length, that's the basket length. So I'm just going to place that length on top of this, and we are going to cut the excess, you get me? So I got 2 yards of this, so the remaining I'm going to cut it this way. So I'm just showing you guys so you know how to place it. You know you're not going to aim this particular fabric, so you have to be careful while you're cutting it to make sure that it's straight. So this is me, I'm just placing it, I'm cutting it, and I've cut it right now. So we now have two. So these two, what I want to do right now, I'm going to join them together. Like I'm going to join it to be one. I'll join both sides. I'll join the other side and I also join this other side. Then when I'm done, look at, I've joined the two sides. When I'm done, I'm going to open one side. So that one side is going to serve as zip allowance, and the two joining are going to be on this side. So that's it, guys. So this is me just trying to pleat it. I'm just trying to pleat everything on the fabric. You can pleat it anyhow you want it. So I'm going to pleat first. I'm going to pleat to the right when I get to the middle, and I'm going to pleat to the left. They are going to be facing each other, but I think the inspiration is not that way. The inspiration is going one side, but this is how I want to do mine. So this is me just splitting it. This is it when I'm done. You can see the zip allowance. There is no pleated on that side. It's free. So I'm going to go over to the machine now and I'm going to stitch it with 1/2 inch, guys. I'm going to stitch it on top with 1/2 inch.
That is it, guys. So this is it when I was done stitching on top. You can see how beautiful it's looking already. So guys, when I was stitching, I actually added paper stay to the 1/2 inch that I stitch on, because if you're not adding it to be expanding. I also added paper stay on the zip, and I've added my zip already, you can see. So now we are going to go ahead now to measure our round neck to see what we have. Going to measure our round neck so we can use it to cut our collar out. Yes. So now let's go ahead and cut our collar. So I'm just drawing a straight line. From that straight line, I'll come down by 4 inches. That's how it's going to be. That's going to be the length. And from there, I will divide the round neck, what I had, the round neck, I'll divide it by 2. And I'm just adding that 1/2 inch there as sewing allowance. So I'm going to divide it by 2. Whatever I have, I added it there. And I'm also going to divide this one. I'm also going to just mark it. And when I was done, I'm just going to go ahead now and draw the lines across, form a square. Just draw the lines that way. So I'm just making sure that I have a straight line there. So at the top, you're going to come out by 1/2 inch, and from there you're just going to connect it to make the down part. You can see it, just connect it that way, and that's all for the collar. So I'm just adding my allowances and I cut it on fabric. So we're going to have 4 of this, and so we are going to go ahead now and turn the side with the 1/2 inch that we added. Then when I was done turning it, this is me just bringing it out, and I'm going to iron it before I attach it. So I'm going to overlap it by 1/2 inch at the side that we have came out of. That's the side that is going to be the front. So I'm just tucking in my zip allowance because I'm going to stitch it this way from the zip allowance. So when we are done stitching it straight, we are going to flip it over to the front. So I'll go to the machine now and sew it. So this is it when I was done, and we're just going to go ahead now to attach our rows. You're going to tighten it strong. You're going to tighten it strong. It's detachable, so they can always remove it anytime. So you tighten it. I'm also going to do the same for the other side, and that is it. And look at it here. I'll do the same for the other side, and we are done, and our model is already, the owner is already rocking it. Thank you so much, guys. Please subscribe, like, share. Thank you, and see